Hey, what's up everyone? So in my last video, I kind of went in on Mark Rippetoe criticizing the trap bar for, in my opinion, very unnecessary reasons. One of the reasons that he kept citing is the fact that the trap bar deadlift is terribly unstable.
Instability.
Because you're not locked out on the sagittal plane like you would be with the barbell. So this obviously has some implications in terms of Mark's philosophy towards unstable style training. And like I said in the last video, I'm kind of aware that Mark Rippetoe does not like yoga, which I assume is for the same reasons. Basically, I would assume he thinks yoga is too dangerous because of how unstable yoga is inherently. There's a lot of different balancing exercises and things like that involved in yoga, so I would assume that that is his reason for hating it. But I don't know 100%. So I found this video titled Mark Rippetoe Does Yoga. It looks like maybe it's clipped from a live stream or something like that. So I don't know if he actually does yoga in this video or if he's just simply going to trash it, like he used the I'm doing yoga title as like clickbait or something like that. So I'm gonna watch this just like the last video. I'm gonna watch it for the first time and just react in real time to what he's saying. And I don't know if he's gonna support yoga, if he's gonna do yoga, or if he's gonna trash yoga in this video. So let's go ahead and find out.
Yoga is important to stay loose and flexible. Well, why is it necessary to stay loose and flexible?
Okay, this should be a pretty easy one to address. Why is it necessary to stay loose and flexible? Injury prevention, preventing nerve impingements, tightness in general. You're saying right off the bat, why would you want flexibility? Well, how about the opposite question? Why would you want tightness, right? So let's see how he answers his own question here.
I'm not arguing the fact that yoga will make you loose and flexible. I'm just asking you, why? Why do you want to be loose and flexible? What is inherently better?
Well, yoga will not only make you loose and flexible, but will promote balance, which inherently is going to help prevent injury, right? If you're building up a bunch of, stabilizing muscles by, challenging them with different balance exercises, that is going to keep your joints and your tendons and your ligaments a little bit more bulletproof than they would be otherwise. So
at being loose and
right,
flexible than about having tight, strong, and therefore safer joints. Loose joints get injured. Tight, strong joints get injured at a far lower rate.
He's kind of using the argument that I was going to use to make fun of him for, but it seems like he does think that having more tightness works to your advantage. Okay.
Than hypermobile joints. Hypermobility is not a good thing. And you people are cultivating hypermobility with your yoga stuff. All right?
So I think you're mistaking flexibility for strength. You can be very flexible and still have very strong joints. That's not true at all. If you have muscle tightness, if you have an imbalance to the point where you have constricted muscle, it's going to cause problems along that kinetic chain, right? If you have a super tight, bicep, right, for example, what's connected to your bicep? Well, your shoulder and your elbow. So because of the super amount of tightness you have in your bicep, you could end up with a lot of pain in your elbow, pain in your shoulder. It could trickle back into your, into your traps and your rhomboids and your forearms and your wrists. Everything along that kinetic chain is compromised when you have one point of failure, aka, muscles, joints that are super tight. How is having increased mobility a bad thing? Tight muscles, tight joints are going to actually promote injury if you think about it. And maybe not in the context of weightlifting, but in the context of just living life. We all trip over things, we all stumble and try to regain our balance. And if you have very limited mobility and your body is trying to recover from that sort of unbalance, that's how a lot of injuries happen. A lot of injuries happen because something is too tight. You fall the wrong way, and now that muscle that was already tight is now detached. All right, we're halfway in, and just like the other video, he just keeps repeating the same stuff, but let's keep going.
With your yoga stuff, all right? Here's yoga, all right?
Okay. Looks like he's doing a warrior pose.
All right, and you got this pose.
It's kind of a warrior pose.
And behind me, there's rocks, or a forest, or the ocean, or some shit. I'm out on a, by myself out in the middle of absolute nowhere going.
Hey, what's up? This is future Brian going through and editing the video right now. And I didn't even realize this when I was doing my reaction, but just Mark trying to do the warrior pose, look at how tight he is. Like, he can't even fully extend his arms. He's got some serious imbalances. If you ever see this video, Mark, I highly recommend that you do yoga.
What are you doing?
I don't fucking know.
I think that's the
It
warrior.
is the warrior.
Pretty sure it's
What's it called? The warrior?
You should be in a lunge too,
Yeah,
but
that's it. That's
like a slight lunge.
I love it.
His backhand is always doing something.
That's one pose.
Well, that's yoga, okay?
You see this pose right here? That's all of yoga. All of it right here. The warrior pose. See that? I'm not even doing the full pose. I just have my arms out. See that? That's yoga. How ignorant is that? That's stupid. Look, this is weightlifting. I'm a weightlifter. Look. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So that's yoga. All right. So let's hear why that is so detrimental.
And if you want to do that and it makes you, happy to assume these poses, enjoy being in that position, you go ahead and get in that position. If you want to do it on a beach, up in Washington State with nobody around you except the sea lions and the birds and shit, then go ahead and do it. It's beautiful. It makes for wonderful photography. Whatever that pose means, I don't know. I don't care.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm completely ignorant. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now I remember because in the first Mark Rippetoe video that I did years ago, I actually did clip something from this. It was that. I don't know. I don't care. So I guess I actually have seen this before. I just haven't actually digested it and broken it down. To answer your question, what's happening when you hold a warrior pose or a crane pose or an eagle pose or whatever is that it's challenging your muscles in an isometric way, right? So you have contracting, you have extending, and then you have isometric, right? Like basically pushing against a force that is providing so much resistance that there's no movement, right? So if I were to just push into the wall next to me, you know what I mean? That is an isometric exercise technically. So getting into a pose that's going to challenge your muscles over time, when you first get into like a warrior lunge, you're not really going to feel much, right? But the longer that you hold it, the more you're going to start feeling your joints and your muscles begin to work, right? It's called isometric exercise, Mark. If you open any personal training manual, anything related to kinesiology and movement, you're going to see in chapter 1 when they describe contracting and extending the importance of doing isometrics too. So that's what's happening, okay? You are working your muscles, And doing something like getting into a warrior pose is not going to make you hyper flexible in any way, shape, or form. It makes me wonder if Mark simply doesn't believe in stretching, doesn't believe in dynamic stretching. You know, I'm sure there's a whole list of things that he doesn't believe in that are just silly. Like, does he believe in massage therapy? You know, this opens the door to so much because it is generally a consensus. I mean, among anybody in the kinesiology field or kinesiology adjacent, physical therapists, personal trainers, whatever your poison is, that being attentive to your mobility and flexibility is key to preventing injury. Like, Mark is going against the grain so hard that, I mean, it's just completely out there. It's very unscientific. And find me an Olympic weightlifting coach that doesn't, have his trainees practice mobility. Find me a football team. Find me like a sports team where you're not warming up. Find me a jiu-jitsu dojo where you don't start off, doing all kinds of stretching, dynamic stretching, shrimping and all that stuff that you do in your warm-ups. There's not a single sport out there where you're not warming up your joints from a flexibility perspective prior to actually getting into training. And this should also apply to competitive weightlifting, like powerlifting, like strongman, Olympic lifting, whatever it is. If you are lifting weights, if you are working your body, you need to be flexible enough to not get injured. I mean, this is very, very basic here, but he's almost done with this video, so let's get to the end of it and see if there is a point made in the next 30 seconds, which I highly doubt.
It's not something I'm interested in. I'm probably wrong about all this, I'm sure, but I once again, it's just something I don't...
Yeah, I'm probably wrong about all this, I'm sure, but it's something I don't care about. Let's walk that whole statement there.
Beach, up in Washington State, with nobody around you except the sea lions and the birds and shit, then go ahead and do it. It's beautiful, it makes for wonderful photography, whatever that pose means, I don't know, I don't care. It's not something I'm interested in. I'm probably wrong about all this, I'm sure, but I once again, it's just something I don't care about.
I don't know, I don't care. It's something I'm not interested in. I'm probably wrong about all of this, okay? So just think of who Mark Rippetoe is, okay? This guy is a hero to a lot of beginners in strength training, right? To a lot of people that get into strength training, this is the first guy that they see. So you have a coach giving you advice, telling you not to work on your mobility and flexibility because it's bad to be too flexible. And then he goes and says, I'm probably wrong about all this. Like, I don't think I would ever put anything out on YouTube sincerely, that wasn't like a parody. I can't imagine putting a video out giving a really strong opinion about something that's very, very important to preventing injury, definitely something in the interest of, a new lifter. I couldn't imagine putting the information out there and then in the same breath saying, I'm probably wrong. Like, if you want to know, you are wrong, okay? So, just in case you were wondering, like, right, wrong, is it really good to be tight or is it really good to be mobile? You're wrong, okay? It's a really obvious answer, and you're wrong.
This, I'm sure, but I once again, it's just something I don't care about. And if you want to do yoga, go ahead and do yoga. I mean, yoga instructors got to eat like everybody else does.
What a dick. Yeah, you got to eat too, Mark. Like, what do you think starting strength is? You got multiple gyms, you've got multiple books, you've got a successful business. I assume you got a fat, number in your bank account. What are you doing starting strength for? It's to feed yourself. That's what bull strength is for. It's to feed me. It doesn't mean that what they're doing is completely invalid. You're not knocking on something that's like some kind of pseudoscience or something that's up for debate. I'm not going to say that chiropractic is pseudoscience, but you know, the act of being a chiropractor or whatever is highly debated, whether, you know, it's even an effective field whatsoever, and, you know, there's questions about their qualifications and stuff. I could see being speculative about something like that where everybody's speculative about it, like, you know, cold therapy and things like that. You know, controversial topic where there's not a defined consensus, there's not a definitive answer. Attacking something like yoga, or attacking something like dynamic stretching, or even ballet. Oh no, yeah, it's not masculine enough, right? Well, you know, Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger disagree with you. This is not a very good argument, okay? I mean, I didn't expect anything different, you know, from the last video. He didn't make a single good point the entire time, so... Alright, looks like we got about 20 seconds left, so...
You need to be loose and flexible. How was it stated? Loose and flexible.
Why do you need to be loose and flexible? Already answered. Injury prevention.
Flexible. How was it stated? Loose and flexible. I think the fitness community is selling people the idea that more flexible and a greater range of motion around a joint is always better than tight. And that's not true.
Alright, so that's it. He didn't give a reason. I don't know, maybe there's a longer version of this. It's better to be loose than tight. You know, he doesn't believe in that. He believes that tightness is better than looseness. And he says pretty definitively in the very end that it's not true, right? It's not true. Why is it not true? You're a strength coach. Like, you need to flesh that out a little bit. You need to talk about that a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know if this is part of a bigger clip. It seems like this was clipped from, you know, maybe like a podcast or something like that. But the fact that it's a 3-minute clip and it cuts off, I assume that, you know, that's the end. That's the end of the argument, is that looseness bad, tightness good. Which I have never ever heard a single person anywhere near the kinesiology field say that having tightness is better than having flexibility. You're completely incorrect, Mark. Like, once again, you're wrong. But it's absolutely ridiculous to say that having tight muscles is more advantageous to weightlifting. While you're performing a repetition, yes, but that has nothing to do with the joint mobility. That has nothing to do with that at all. It has to do with how tight you are, right? Like I said in my video about why I don't use weightlifting straps anymore. You know, what happened over time with me relying on weightlifting straps. I couldn't maintain the tightness around my wrists. I couldn't maintain the tightness around my hands and my forearms. I was starting to lose grip strength because I was so dependent on the straps, right? So that lack of contraction was setting my joints up for potential injury. And as I said in that video, I developed ganglion cysts, and I did acquire some micro injuries from not being tight enough. So when you're performing a repetition of something, yes, you want your muscles to tighten up. You want them to flex. But in the context overall of being healthy and, you know, being fit, you don't want an inherent tightness all the time. Because like I said, it's going to affect everything in that kinetic chain. You can end up with an injury or a pain or an ache anywhere in that chain because of that one bit of tightness that you have. So, yeah, once again, Mark, you're way off base. You're ridiculous. This is probably the last time I'm ever going to talk about Mark Rippetoe or starting strength. So if this wasn't a video topic that you cared for, don't worry. We're probably not going to bring him up again. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Check the description down below if you'd like to support this channel. I'd really, really appreciate it if you did. And have a great rest of your day or night. And peace out.